Hey, welcome everybody to Bridging the Seen and Unseen. I am your host. I am Shane McLain, and this is the wonderful producer, Gwen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
No sense in complaining. My wife is home. She is geared up. She's ready. And I just want to put this public announcement out there. Chris O'Toole, when you did that AI of Outcast, that was so wrong in so many ways, but so funny in so many different ways. I just had to let you know that. Oh my gosh, stop it. Hey, but tonight, guys, listen, we're going to have a great show tonight. The past few weeks, we've been going across the Enfield saga, and it continues tonight. Some people get into the paranormal. Some people find it fascinating. Some people get in for, because someone else is in it. But what happens when you're born into it? And how does that affect your life when you're on the outside, and how would people actually look at you when you're born into the paranormal? So we're going to continue this with Jay, and he's got a very special guest with him, and I'll let him introduce, but let's bring Jay Yaples on.
Hey guys.
Hey. I appreciate you guys being on. Who's your guest that you have here with you, Jay?
I have my daughter, Mackenzie Yaple, and she's going to talk about herself, her experience in the house, and how she grew up, and some pretty scary things that she witnessed and what's going on, I guess.
Good deal. Mackenzie, it's great to have you. Welcome to the show. Just tell everybody, who you are and just a little about yourself.
Sounds good. Well, I'm Mackenzie. I know this is a really interesting fact, but I did just graduate from high school in this year. And I love doing the paranormal, getting really fun with it. used to do BMX trick bikes, skateboarding, and sometimes editing some videos here and there, and some woodwork. So some basic things. So
That's
Congratulations
awesome.
on
That's
graduating.
awesome. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like what was it like when you were, younger? Did you have experiences or did you hear about the experiences?
it was both. Majority because like you guys know, I have a twin sister, so she has the ability of more of seeing and hearing things. On my part, I definitely did hear and see things in the house, like of course shadow figures hanging around where we used to sleep in a small bedroom in the kids' room. A lot of things knocking off the walls. We have like some glass stuff and some simple stuff like that. I mean, it was definitely, I don't want to say traumatizing, but for something that you really can't see and deal with about is really in a different story. And especially, I have great parents that actually accepted it instead of just saying, what is not all in your head, like how kids now, we have more of the sight to see because we're so close to that side when we're being born. And a lot of the parents always assume, okay, maybe there's some mental function on there. I'm not saying everything there is that all it is, but I think some of it can also be caused from paranormal.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you make a good point there because, like, like when you're a kid and you're growing up, kids have a very vivid imagination. They have imaginary friends and things like that. And you guys literally could have an imaginary friend, and you know, nobody would probably think you were delusional or crazy or anything like that but you knew about this house like since you were real young.
Real young. Yeah, I mean, growing up with it since being months old, babies living here, and till this day being 18 living here. So it's always an everyday thing of something usually going on or something going wrong. Or
And see, that's what's great about that is, like you said, you're 18, but you were born into this, so you have the right to literally say that I have been in the paranormal for 18 years.
yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, experiencing almost 18 years of paranormal, and when we started the business 2 years, almost 3 years ago, I decided, you know what, to get this more out, but also to try to help other kids around my age and younger, just to tell them like, hey, maybe it's not all in your head. You don't have to always go willingly with your parents and thinking that there's always another thing to it. So, and then now I'm 18, I'm going out to more events and
That's awesome.
having fun and trying just to get more knowledge too from it.
I
That's
have a
that's
question,
that.
if y'all don't mind me asking.
Go ahead.
Is that okay? I mean, growing up there, I know you experienced stuff in your home and probably the property also. Have you ever experienced anything in another location besides like a ghost hunt?
Oh, for sure. I mean, even my old middle school, where they actually just kind of renovated about 5 years ago, they actually built that on ancient Native American.
Oh yeah.
Um, so when I went to that school, sixth grade and then to eighth grade, I started seeing things in there, and I wasn't really quite sure. Some like maybe someone did pass here or something like that.
Right.
Until throughout the years, I did my history on the house, and then I've kind of discovered that that whole JFK area there is Native American ground. I was like, okay, maybe that's why I'm also seeing things there. So
She's
Right.
being modest, guys.
I can
I'm
see
going to
it on her.
just in 1 second. I'll tell you a really weird story. We were down in Williamsburg, Virginia. We were walking, and there was a haunted house. We didn't know that they were giving a ghost tour. We thought this person was a reenactment. This woman in a black dress came storming out of the house and then heading down the street. The weird part is, I looked at her. She had no legs. All you could see was the bottom of the dress. So I'm looking like, what the heck? The weird part is Mackenzie and me were the only one that saw her.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was just you saw something like that, and I looked at him, he looked at me, and we're like, we both saw that, and it was like, yeah. So there is definitely, even when I go to other people's houses. I mean, when I went to my friend's house and I saw someone sitting in the corner of like they had a book reading room, and all of a sudden I saw like a hand, how someone holds to read a book, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, who was in here? I only thought you told me your mom and your dad was here. And she's like, no one's in that room. So I was like, okay. I'm like, I didn't want to ask too many questions. So, but I'm like, later on, we're eating dinner. I asked, I'm like, whose reading room is that? That actually used to be their grandfather's. And he passed away in that room.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I saw him just sitting there. I was like, and I didn't want to scare my friend out either. So that's why I went towards the parents a little bit, saying like, hey, you know what's going on here? I don't want to start scaring people or anything. And they were pretty comfortable about it, which I'm really surprised, because for one of their friends, you know, coming over and saying, hey, I'm seeing stuff in your place.
Right.
We kind of spooked out. You'd be like to your daughter, hey, your kid's got some issues, but
Right. Now, how did the friend situation go? Like for you growing up and everything, did you have difficulties like with kids wanting to come over or stay the night or anything like that? Was that difficult for you?
100% sure. Especially when I was younger too. When I used to have sleepovers here, we used to have at least like 5 kids here, and by the morning, only 1 kid stayed. All 4 had to call up their parents and get picked up because they had so much experience in the house. They had to leave. Only 1 left. And until I got older a little bit, some of my friends were interested, but some of them, I have one friend till this day won't come over to the house, won't even step on the sidewalk or nothing. And she won't tell me what she's seen or what she heard, but she's so scared. She doesn't even want me talking about the paranormal around her.
Wow. So, I mean, has anybody ever just told you how can you grow up in that kind of environment? There's some people, and I know I'm from the South, and here, you got some real, what we like to call churchy people. And yeah, I am a bishop, but I'm not a churchy, kind of person. I do believe in God and I believe in the church wholeheartedly, but when I'm speaking of churchy people or judgmental people, and Gwen can vouch for that. This is like deep down into the Bible Belt right here.
Oh yeah, I call them Bible thumpers.
There's some here that would literally call child services on your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they're like, if the parents knew that there was a demon in this house, and they're not going to protect you more than that, it would be a big mess here. So I'm glad at least there were some people there that you guys had that can understand. And obviously you turned out to be a wonderful person, even though it probably affected you in more ways than what you're showing, but you carry yourself really well.
Thank you. I try. Sometimes some days ain't easier than others, but I mean, why let that bring us down because of something that, either happened or passed or is still happening to us? We also have to look at the brighter side of things too, because we can't let that small part of us always take the whole side of us too, because then what's the point of going on with life? Because if you're going to think that one way, then that's how you're all going to get towards with it. You're going to get all that negative and everything. So if you keep that negative down to a bare minimum and keep positive, that's kind of how I go with the day,
I love hearing you say that, especially at your age. That you did good.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to hear that, because I've always heard the old saying that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And let's just face it, there's a lot of generation of today's youth that don't stand for too much at all.
Mm-mm.
you know, and like you have every right to be like, I mean, not saying anything, but like if you were an alcoholic or something like that, you know, you could literally say, hey, you know, this house or my childhood made me turn out this way, and you're not. You know, you're a very bright, intelligent girl. You're articulate, you speak well. And you could just tell you were raised the right way. And I mean that speaks a lot to your character. And but when you were young, did you like what's tell us about an experience that you've had that you'll absolutely never forget.
Well, till this day, me and my sister shared the small bedroom at once, and my bunk bed was kind of like over her bed. So then, she was laying underneath, and we believe whatever this thing in the house was kind of like hiding under her bed, like to kind of torment her and everything. So at the time, being twins, I'm like the tougher one, like, okay, I'll check it out. So I went over there. And at first I told Carmen, like, why do you have all this crap underneath here? Like, if you want me to go underneath there, then come on, bring the stuff out. So I went underneath there. I would say I got picked up about good like 3 inches off her bed. And you could feel like the ceiling was someone like going through the ceiling and picking me up. And I dropped down and I slide under. I said, Courtney, there's nothing under your bed. You're fine. Go to sleep. And then the next day I tell my parents, I said, we really got to figure this thing out because like,
Wow, dude.
it came down to sleep. And I mean, where Courtney was crying, I was like, yeah. So I'm glad we had some supportive parents really to help us, especially during those times back in 2006 and all the way up to 2010. There wasn't much help either. So that was a big ask for them too, to try to figure out how we can get some help in the house too.
Mm. So,
Thomas,
I mean, how
we
do
got a
you
couple
just get
people saying hi.
accustomed? What were you speaking, Gwen?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thomas
Go ahead.
Gormley, who has been there, he said I don't know here if you saw it or not. Here you go. He said he hopes you're doing fantastic. So,
thank you, Tom. I hope you're doing well too.
yeah.
I think it's I think it's just it really, you know, speaks a lot, you know, because I had my first experience when I was 10 years old. And, you know, and like I said, I am a bishop. I run a religious order with a great group of people. But a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, how are you in ministry, you know, when you're in the paranormal? Well, I stepped away from full-time ministry to take on spiritual warfare ministry. I wanted to be able to help clients and people and families that were dealing with issues, because we had families coming in and they had real issues going on, and then the only thing that would be told to them is, oh, we'll put you and your family on the prayer list, we'll pray for you, you know, like this. Well, sometimes it takes some action behind it.
Yep.
And I wanted to take that action, and that's what I have dedicated my life to doing. I am not a paranormal clergy. I am a clergy that works in the paranormal. I am not afraid or delusional about what I'm saying. When we go my wife and I, we go together. We do the investigation part of it. We have our own equipment that we use. We don't call another paranormal team. We actually go in, do the investigation. We identify. We do all our homework on the place. And we also do a very theological clearing and cleansing of the area.
I have to say, it's really amazing, especially working with your wife too together and find someone really you can relate to and talk to about that. I have to say,
yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. And honestly, I'm going to get her on here to talk about that one day, because my wife is a healer.
Yes.
My wife, and I'll give you a prime example of that. I hurt my back really bad, and I wasn't able to put my left heel down for 2 years. I wasn't able to put it down at all. And they tried to, I'm not big. I don't like pain medicine. I don't like things like that, you know. And my wife just out of 2 years, one day I was sitting right where I am, and she goes, "Can I pray over you?" And I'm like, "Sure," you know, wasn't really thinking anything of it. And she stood me up and she took her hand, and I knew she was like close to my back because I felt radiated heat coming off of her hand. And she prayed so hard. And she prayed, had her hand on my head, and she asked for a divine intervention from God. And let me tell you something, Mackenzie. For the first time in 2 years, I was able to put my heel down.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And my back has not hurt since that day.
Amen.
I believe in the healing too.
My wife is a healer, and she, you know, and she always said, like, you know, she always wanted to know her purpose and things like that. I'm telling you, I will not go on a case at all without my wife, because my wife is so detrimental when it comes to cases, not only for the family, but for the healing aspect, you know, for recovery of the families or families that have been affected by entities or whatever. Like, she's really, really good at helping me with counseling and helping and aftercare and things of that nature. It's amazing that she has a natural ability to do that. And I see you over here, and it's like, you know, you grew up in this house, and did you ever get picked on by kids?
No, with that backstory, my sister was the one that was getting bullied in school. So what I did was I went after the bullies. So they knew better not to go after my sister or the other kids that were getting bullied, because then they would have said, okay, then we had to go to me. So then a lot of it kind of like calmed down. So
She's being modest. I looked out the window one day, right? Because the way I raised, you know, like you guys said, raised her and the way I trained her. All of a sudden, me and my wife are sitting there. I look out the living room window, Elsa. I'm like, oh my God. She's like, well, I start running out there. I see Mackenzie down at the end of the street. There's like five, six boys, right? They're playing in the street on their bikes. She throws her bikes down and just starts grabbing the boys and punching them. We had to run out there. She beat all the boys up. Yeah.
I
That was
do
crazy.
have a hot temper on that one, but I usually see things, you know what, if you think you had the right to go after someone for no reason and get away with it, I'm like, nah, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I might get in trouble myself, but at least knowingly that person knows better now after getting in trouble of not starting some stupid bull crap and going around and just starting picking fights either.
So your siblings got picked on. Was it because of the house, or was it?
It was just in general with my sister because she's more of a quiet person. She likes to keep it to herself. And
Right.
with that, too, you know, she was a little nerdier on that type. So it was more of the effect of kids, you know, targeted her out and said, okay, perfect example to go after her. And I really wasn't. I was like, you know what? Family. You're born with family. You're going to die with family. You know, family is all you got. So I told her, I was like, I warned them first before I got into any fights. I warned them, like, hey, just back it off. You go that way, we go our way. That's all it has to keep it down to. But this generation really doesn't know how to do that anymore. No common sense, no respect, nothing. They
No
just,
loyalty.
that too, no
That's very
loyalty. So it's really hard to talk to someone that really doesn't understand it. So I
So
was
you know
like,
what you do, Mackenzie? Here's the trick to do that. Whenever you go in front of a bully, carry some baby powder with you.
Mhm.
And then as soon as they do, pull out the baby powder and put it on your hand and pour it on your hand. And then tell them, say hello to my pimp hand. And you smack the fire out of them. And it leaves that mark on their face. And you're like, now you have been touched by the kiss of death. And they'll never mess with you again.
nah, they'd probably be running the other way saying, you know what, this is some crazy bitch.
Send them to Jesus, man.
That's awesome. I've got so much going through my head that I wanted to ask you and things like that. But I'm gonna ask a question that is probably facing everybody. Now. You guys don't have to say it because we do have a couple more shows if you guys want to wait. But what do you all believe is in your house?
Well, I definitely know there are spirits in this house for
Well,
sure.
we know that. I'm talking like some people will say, "Oh, I've got an evil spirit, or I've got an old man, or an old woman, or a child, or a demon." You know, what do you guys really feel deep down inside? What do you feel is in that house and has been there for a long time?
I would have to say something to do with Native American, to be honest, because
Interesting.
this land has been here for so long, and with the Native American history around here, and with a lot of bloodshed. And I feel like, a lot of that can occur in creating something that's not really so good and creates this nasty entity. And throughout over all these years with these deaths around this area, fuels and gets stronger and stronger. So I believe this thing has to be some type of entity of some sort of Native American or some creature. I'm not really 100% sure. What do you think of it? What do you think?
You said a creature, like a skinwalker almost.
Something like that, yeah, that comes around here and just starts, wreaking havoc.
Here's an old word. The Native Americans, the Algonquin, would call it a manitou. It's a spirit. It's the way the Native Americans would pray, they would pray to anybody who would answer them. So it could be, let's say, I don't want to say like the devil's here and God's here and then the other spirits. They would pray, and whoever would grant them their wish. They didn't know the devil, they didn't know God, so they would pray, and whoever answered them. So, like Mackenzie said, if it was Native American, like a Manitou, they believe everything has a spirit, and some spirits are bad. I mean, real bad.
Do you guys believe that maybe there is a portal running through your house?
I believe so.
Yeah, several of them.
Because
you got several of them.
Several of them, because I've had investigations in the house before where I've had names that came from no place of the history of the house or nothing until I start, doing some more history. Because I get curious with names. So, I'm like, I can't remember one of the names. But I had a name that came through and I was really curious. It really, stuck with me for a while. So I started doing some research around here, seeing who bought any of the houses that had the name. And it was actually someone that did live in this area a long time ago that bought a house and was working for the carpet factories we have over there. So then I found out that name came through. So I think sometimes whatever's around this area kind of gets drawn to it.
Yeah.
And then stays here. I think of it as like a lantern. You're camping, you have a lantern out there, and you have all those bugs going attracting to it. I think of a portal. It's like that.
Yeah. And hey, I'll tell you an old trick that you can do too. To also, if you ever think there's a portal in your house and you wanted to make like see for sure if it is, grab an old compass
Oh yeah.
Just an old compass, and stick it right in the middle where you think it is, because a portal is interdimensional, so there's no direction point to it. So the compass will start going.
Everywhere, southwest, east,
Yeah,
everywhere.
it'll just start turning. It'll just start turning, and that'll let you see that there's a portal in your house.
Definitely have
Yeah.
to try that.
Because
Yep.
Bob Baker, when he was here years ago, when he was in the basement, and he had, like I said before, he had a camera face and a crawl space, and he had another one there, and he went underneath, and he said, if I could take a string straight up, he goes, what's above us? And I was like, oh my God. I said, that if you went straight up, you hit the dining room, then you would go all the way up and you would hit right where Mackenzie was sleeping. And then you go right up to the attic where she was sleeping later on. So it was like a direct line. So there were like multiple ports, but that where the dining room is, that's where she would see this other weird creature. So if you had that up there, that would make sense that something's coming out and it stays within the portal so it could jump back in. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. That's one thing.
Yeah, the case that my wife and I just did 2 weeks ago, the client called me. He went to go get in his bed, and he got in, and now you do understand he has got one of those really big king size bed, and the entire frame of it is like solid oak,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff. It's like it would take a lot of people to move this bed, like no kidding. And he said he got in the bed, and he said the whole bed started violently shaking.
Oh wow.
So we were like, you know, that didn't happen before. Now this is what I'm saying is I've already gone to this client, and I already got rid of things that were in his house already. And we are actually going, it's that case where we were on My Haunted Hometown where we did that show. It's the same client. It's the same one.
Is he having problems? More problems? Like
Yeah,
again?
yeah,
Oh,
but
wow.
not anymore. Not anymore. We got
Okay.
we got rid of it. But we went there, and we take all of our equipment and we set it up, and I took and I put the EMF and stuff underneath the bed, and I instantly got a reaction. So I checked the temperature that was in it, and inside the room, the regular temperature was like 68, 69 degrees. When I put it closer to the middle of his bed, it got down to like the low 50s.
Oh wow.
Damn.
You know, so that let me, and the only other place that I found that, which we found, is right above his bed, in the middle. If you go straight up through the ceiling, is his attic.
Yep.
And we were having the same temperature, the same EMF reading, the same thing coming out of the attic. So we definitely believe that was an entry and exit point wherever it is. So we ended up closing everything off. We ended up sealing it. I've checked on him every single day, you know, since then, and he said we haven't seen, heard anything, you know, so nothing's there. But I'm sorry I got off on that. But
That's okay. That's okay. We're listening.
But when you guys have an experience, I mean, have you guys ever just been like sitting around watching a movie or something like that, and you had to stop because things go on, or are you just so used to it that it just happens?
I would say majority of times we don't stop the movie because I mean it happens consistently, but we definitely had some times where we had to stop because we thought, you know, either we have like doors rambling through, and the air compressor too could be completely unplugged and it just will start making noises for no reason.
Mhm.
And it's just all these small things, or shadow figures where it's like clear as day will walk right in front of like the TV, and then that's where we kind of have to stop.
Mm. Mm.
And they start banging on the doors, and you
Banging on
think
doors,
somebody's at the
rapping.
door, and then it's loud. It's not like a little. It's like you
Yeah.
think someone's at the door.
Sounds like the
And
PD.
there were times I'm like, Mackenzie, it's got to be one of your friends, and she's like, no, not my friends. So I would go to the door, and I would look out the window that would go on the porch, and there'd be nobody there. I slowly open the door, and there'd be nobody there. And then I would just make the sign of the cross saying that you're not welcome. There's a blood of Jesus over the door. And
Yeah.
stuff like that, because you think someone's trying to come in or something, and then you just go back to the movies. You just start watching the movies, and then you don't try not to think about it.
Hey,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
we
no
have
kidding.
a question. Nicole is kind of new to the network, and she's not familiar, I guess, with everything. But I know Nicole, just from what I know they've had all kinds of investigations and cleansings and all that kind of stuff. She was asking. I guess she's not familiar with all of it.
Yes.
What was she asking?
Have you guys ever had a house cleansing? She's
Oh,
new to it.
yeah, I'm
I don't
definitely
think-
sure.
Oh yeah, they've had. I know you guys have had a lot of things. People trying to help you and things.
Nicole, if you go back and you watch some right here, there's been multiple priests that have been there. There's been priests that have gone there to do blessings on this house and will never actually go back to the house. So there's a lot going on there. But yeah, why do you guys think that is too? Like, what do you think that the priests end up having? Or do you think it's maybe something that they weren't ready for?
I think whatever this thing is, it's so powerful that because we've seen it, like, put rosaries in priests' hands. We've seen it pick up holy water, so we know, it's like space and time and all that stuff. It has no effect on it, So it's like it's something really old.
Mhm.
It's something very powerful, and
So religious items have no effect on it?
no effect. And did I ever show you guys the Bible that was shredded in the baby's room? It literally took out Elka's German Bible from her grandmother,
Mhm.
pulled it out, shredded the pages, and blew it all over the room. When we came home, that's what we found all over Mackenzie's bed, everywhere. Like, go ahead, here's your Hocus Pocus. What's next? So we had real Indian shamans come in. I had a real witch that came in from Springfield, Mass. I don't talk about. We had everybody that you could imagine, and whatever this entity is, it's extremely smart, extremely powerful, and very cunning. And what do you think, Kens?
I would say, they work for me when I really put the belief into it. But I've also seen some parts where they haven't worked. So I don't know if it's depending on what you're dealing with, or if how you're trying to kind of partake it on that point. So, but I always wear a cross. It's like I got 3 on right now. I have a Celtic cross tattooed on me. Like, even if I forgot these here.
Show me your tattoo since you mentioned it.
So,
She got that for graduation.
Wow.
What is it?
It's a dragon with a Celtic cross on it.
Oh, nice.
So I got that one. So just in case if I forget these, I'm still have a Celtic cross on my skin permanent. So I'm I make sure carrying 3 on me, rosaries on me, no matter where I go, because just in case, you never.
That's smart. It's smart. It's smart. Hey, I would recommend you're carrying rosaries. Carry a Saint Benedict rosary.
Okay.
Saint Benedict, that is our patron saint. And but as far as protection wise, like the Benedict prayer, the Benedict rosaries, the Benedict medallions, and things like that are really, really good for protection purposes.
definitely have to look into some and get some, because the only thing I really have close enough. I have
See
a
that's
here.
a Benedict. I don't know if you can
Oh
see it.
yeah, I see it. Yeah.
It's to see it, but you see it's got Benedict on the back.
Yeah.
And then of course that's the Benedict cross. The Benedict on there, you'll see some letters on there. It's actually a prayer. It was actually Saint Benedict's very first exorcism prayer,
Oh
where
wow.
he says it on there where he says, Satan be gone. And he says the poison that you're trying to throw at me, drink it yourself.
Yeah.
So I mean it's very, very powerful. I would definitely look into stuff like that. And like when you guys use holy water and stuff like that, put it off and say, I seal this wall with the sign of the cross and the blood of Jesus Christ. And put and really make sure that your intentions and your strengths
Yep.
match each other. Because if it's an intelligent entity like that and it's looking for your reaction, your fears, your energy, things like that. And when you make sure that your strength is up and your intentions are pure and on point, then it'll be a lot harder for you to be affected.
Mhm.
So what we have,
What's he saying?
I think.
I don't know, he's getting something over.
We had a gentleman come in. Matter of fact, it was Reverend Neil Furley, I think. He brought this in. It's actually holy oil, I think, from the Middle East. And he actually brought this in. I don't know if it's olive oil, but it's from the Middle East. It's from Israel. And when Reverend Furley was here, that's what he used. Was this? What we got a little bit left of it. So that's pretty cool.
I always used holy oil on the tops of door frames.
Yep.
I always do that. I use holy water for the walls, for the windows. Above the windows, I use holy oil. Above the doors, I use holy oil. And when I'm praying for the families, I use holy oil, as it's very biblical behind that. But yeah, it's always good to keep that stuff around. And it's smart that you do carry that around. At least you know what helps protect you.
Right.
Does it now, do you have fear of what's there? Or have you just gotten to where you're just like, well, this has gone on so much.
No fear anymore, to be honest. I mean, unless there's a spider jumping out, then maybe I might be screaming on that point. But
Yeah, I don't like spiders either. Man, forget that.
spiders, I'm like, nah. But whatever's here, I'm not scared of it anymore. I've been so used to the stuff that goes on for 18 years. It's just like it gets so used to. It's like a normalized thing that it's like, okay, you know what? It happens. It happens. I mean, it's not much of controlling it, and what's the point of being scared of it if you're just gonna feel it too? So
What's
good.
What's the most intense thing that you've encountered, Mackenzie? I mean, I'm talking like something, where I mean, like obviously they're all there. You can think of them all, but is there one particular that sticks out and it's like, man, I really hope and pray that doesn't happen again?
I probably would say, it was more of the tragedies on that part, because living in this house for so long, I mean, this thing took so much away from our family. And I think that's one thing that I just hope never happens again, to hurt any of us or take one of our family members away again. That's what I really hope for, never to happen ever again.
Mm. Is it more of a like physical, or is it more like emotional?
It would be probably more physical.
Wow.
And that's where I get a little scared of too, because it's like if it's physical and it really can do that, that's where I get a little scared on that point, because I hope no one here ever gets hurt or severely injured, because that's really going to be last line on that one.
Yeah, no kidding. No
Do you mind
kidding.
if I ask? I don't know if you've ever like went to camp. I know you're like said sports and stuff. Have you ever gone away for vacation or like a camp or just I don't know visiting something
Yeah.
for any kind of amount of time and come back and notice that it amps up the activity or does it do anything?
I have. I actually left about a trip back in April or May-ish with my friend up to New York to go camping.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a call. It was about maybe the last day, and I found out my rabbit died.
Oh.
And it was just weird because, like, before I left, all healthy, all fine.
Mm-hmm.
My sister was taking care of it. She said it looked amazing in health and everything until the next morning it was dead. So I do believe that, when we do leave the house, activity does increase for some unknown reason. I would love to know the reason on that point, but it definitely does increase.
And it's sad. It's sad when animals get affected, but animals are some of the most sensitive, when it comes to like paranormal activity and like and like, a lot of times they don't freak out because they don't know that we can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they don't know, but the times that they do freak out, I just read about a case about a woman who brought something into her home. She went to a graveyard or whatever, and she took something from the graveyard and brought it home,
Oh,
and she put it above a mantle or whatever, and like 3 days after, she said that her pet was going and staring right where that thing was and wouldn't move. And she came home on the third day and the animal was deceased on the floor, in the same spot. So uh I don't like the fact that animals can be affected like that. I really don't. Um, I know a lot of people tell me that like when something's about to happen, like a big case is gonna come. Like some people in my order that were just saying, they were like, I had this morning, our family had a kitten pass away. One in the UK. She does a thing with spiders or whatever. Some of her spiders died. One of our other bishops, his cat died the other day. So I mean, it's like sequence and stuff. And I wish animals didn't get affected, but it's a sad truth. But animals do get affected, and I mean, have you guys had that issue to where you've had to, you bury some of your animals because of what's in that house?
Many.
It's like a whole pet cemetery out there. There has to at least over 20 animals we buried.
It doesn't like us to be happy. I'll give you one that it still affects me because I loved him. I always called him my little furry son. I used to tell him, I would say, I would say, Charlie, when you come back, it says, come back as my son, and I says, and we'll go fishing, and that's how I'll know it's you in the next life. And so how it affects is we went out that day. We had a big graduation party. We had people from all over the place come to the graduation party, and so it was on July 3rd. We decided to go mall hopping. We had fun. We were laughing and joking just like we used to. And then we came home. We put the shopping bags home. Charlie was all happy. We took back off. And when we came home, I went to open the door and I couldn't open the door, and I saw his little furry ear. He died.
Oh,
And he was just laying by the door, which is highly unusual because normally when we're not home, he goes upstairs and he hides or he lays on a couch. But he was laying right by the door, and Elka and him were so close. I thought Elka was almost going to have a heart attack.
Really,
She couldn't
I
even
was so
breathe.
worried because I mean, the way
That's
mom
sad.
was in distress and everything, I was worried about her. I was worried about him because he was so close too. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, how did this happen? I mean, I looked over in the area because it's like he said, it was weird for Charlie to lay there. I looked, there was like no, like, you know, sometimes how animals pass, sometimes you have some drooling. There was nothing of that, no blood, nothing. And I said, I looked, I'm like, this is really weird. I'm like, I can't pinpoint it. I'm like, and if that had anything to do with paranormal, I'd be really pissed because I was a childhood dog. I had him since I was 6 years old.
that's all. You guys, we have a question. Can you see it, Mackenzie? Jay, can y'all see?
I can't see it.
Okay,
Have you put up cameras? So here's the weird thing, Marla. We actually have. I don't use them that much anymore. Where the heck did I go? Oh, right here. We had several things over the years, and we stopped because of what happens. We have a Ring camera that we use,
okay.
and weird things come across that sometimes. We just have them now just for like a display because I'll tell you one weird thing that happened over the summer last year or this year. I was Elka came over around 9 o'clock and she's like, come on, she goes, you know, because I'm always working, I never stop. So she said, let's go next door, blah 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 blah. So I went next door, we're watching TV, Elka's falling asleep on the couch, and all of a sudden on my phone it says you have a Ring notification. I'm like, okay, whatever. But now it got weird. Now it happens at 11 o'clock. So I looked at it, I didn't see anything. Then all of a sudden, 1 a.m, it says you have somebody, you know, we name like Spooky or this and that, so we know the area. So Spooky was facing the living room. So I was like looking, and then I hit the speaker, and then I heard what it sounded like an old conversation with two men talking. And I said, holy cow, someone's in there. So I went to wake up Elka, and she jumped up in a deep sleep, and she's like, what's up? What's going on? I said, someone's next door. I said, someone's really next door. Then all of a sudden I hear, shh, they are listening to us. And
They know.
Yep. So Elka's eyes almost popped out. I got my German Shepherd, and as we came over, that's how I knew. As soon as Zoe dropped on the ground, and I told you that before, as soon as she drops, there's something really bad here because she would not come in. She starts whining and even urinates on herself. She won't come in.
Oh no.
So we came in, we looked around, and there was nothing there. So the other time that we had when we had the downstairs open up as a single family, we had ADT security come in and wire the house with low voltage system and cameras. Well, within a year, we had to remove them because what started happening was all of a sudden we'd wake up and hear beep, 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 right? And we would get a notification and they would call us. They would say, hey, somebody's in this space. The alarm activated. So they said, is there anybody in your home? Do you want us to call the police? Well, we would check it out, you know, and most of 99, well, about 100 times, there was nothing there. And it started doing it once, then it went twice, and it got to the point where we ended up just ripping out the system because the fear wasn't of the ghost, but it's more fear of all of a sudden having SWAT coming in here because there's an intruder. And it got, so we ripped them off and we decided, you know what, we don't want to do it because after what some of the things that we've seen, right, Kenzie, we don't want to see it on a camera because I want to try to keep what little brain cells I got left.
I was about to say, yeah, he has very few left. And the things.
Do you guys, you know, I know they ask about cameras and stuff like that, but have you guys, you know, just let like an EVP, like a recorder, just go and see what you get?
I have never done that actually. Now I'm thinking about it because you really never know in this house. Because what I've learned is when we have sometimes investigations in the house and we'll be sitting down in the living room and we're all talking, having fun, everything, you can hear them upstairs walking. So I want to see next time, if we have another investigation, I want to put a recorder up there to see if we get any other voices there instead of just footprints, because it would be nice to see if they're also talking too while we're also on the other floor down talking too. So
I tell you, I
Hey
church
guys,
that I used to use.
we got about 5 minutes, but
Okay.
for those who are watching, they will be back. Mackenzie, I hope you'll come back. And any of
definitely.
your other family too. But I just wanted to let everybody that's watching that's kind of new to the series, I will call it, they will be back for
Yep.
more things. So if you have questions, you can ask me. You can send them to me. You can send them to Shane, or you can send them to Jay. But I know he's very busy with stuff. So something that we could bring up or come back. But yeah, we
Yeah,
got a few more minutes.
absolutely.
But go ahead and finish out.
No, I was just gonna say like if you got an EVP, or something like that, just kind of cut it on and just kind of see. And I'll tell you another thing that I used to do on hardwood floors. It's same thing with like baby powder. If you take that and sprinkle it into the door frame,
Oh yeah.
if something comes through there, a lot of times you'll see an imprint of like either toes or something like that. If something goes in or out of the room on hardwood
Cornstarch
floors.
is easier to clean up too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if that's another
Absolutely.
option.
Well, I know we're short on time right now, but Mackenzie, I would love to hear more from you. And I'd love to, maybe you can sit on the next time, because when we have your dad again, I'd love to hear, like, because when he starts telling things, like something could have happened to you that you remember.
Yeah.
And we want to hear all that, because my goal is I want the Enfield story to be told as a whole. The truth behind it, from the family, from what goes, and hold nothing back. And I mean, I want it to be told the right way. And I really appreciate you coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you on here.
Well, thank you for having me on here, and I would love to be on the next podcast. You guys do. You guys are amazing hosts. You guys do a very amazing job, I have to say.
If you got
Thank you.
One fast story about
go
Mackenzie.
ahead.
We had a guy who rented the house. I mean, for paranormal, like almost 4 times. He kept coming back. He kept searching for something, and he's kind of a well-known paranormal investigator. So this one day, his partner couldn't go, so he was here alone. And at midnight, he calls us up. He goes, "Hey guys, this guy got so scared, he actually asked Elka, can you send Mackenzie over at midnight?"
Yeah, over at midnight, I came over. I'm like, "Hey, buddy," I'm like, what's going on and everything? Because we're pretty good friends almost for 3 years now. And all of a sudden, we were just talking because he put some of the equipment away, and we're just having a conversation. And we brought up the Conjuring 3, and all of a sudden, whatever this thing was imitating it. Because I don't know if you remember the scene when the kid like scratches the walls. All of a sudden,
wow.
you hear on the side of the staircase, you just hear a little like, just to let us know that it's listening to our conversation. And like he looked at me, I looked at him, and he wasn't scared. He was actually amazed that actually something could actually imitate what we are actually doing, just as how we're talking.
It'll mimic.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's that time for me. I really appreciate both of you coming on. Please, come back. I like to hear from your wife too. I like to hear, just the people that live in the house and just being affected. But it has been an absolute pleasure having you, and I really appreciate you coming on, Mackenzie. You're awesome. And tell everybody real quick how they can get a hold of you, or through social media.
Through social media, I would probably say best thing would be my Facebook is under my name, Mackenzie Yaple. or I mean, we have the email, like the personal whole email. So I would just say probably find my Facebook. It's Mackenzie Yaple.
That big sign.
So it's
Hang on.
it's
Hey,
a
guys.
public account, so you guys can follow it, and then you guys can message, and I will.
I like using props. So ready, guys? There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
There we go. So
Yeah.
my phone number is here. So you guys, if anyone has any questions, you can text me at my number here, 860-962-0055.
Yep.
Or if you want to call the whole house phone, then bottom number is there. So
Kind of like the stewardess. The emergency sign is here. No.
Yep. Yep. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate you very much. And you guys, it's been a great show, and I really appreciate having you both, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah.
it was
You
nice.
wanna
talking
hold
to you
on a
guys.
minute?
Thank you for having us.
What's
on
that?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull you down for a minute. If y'all will hold on a minute, we'll
Yeah.
talk for a second after the show. If you give
Yeah.
us just a second to sign out, okay?
You're good.
All right.
Don't hit the button, Kenzie, too quick.
I'm not.
Guys, all right, it's been an awesome show, and you can see
it
the
is
whole
so fast.
family. The whole family is amazing, and I like to hear from everybody that's in there. So you guys, we're gonna have them back. We're gonna hear from his wife. We're gonna hear from Mackenzie again, of course. But you guys stay tuned. We got some good things coming up. Stay tuned to All Access. We got some good shows coming up. Raven Wolf is going to have one at 9:30. We look forward to having her on. So, but you guys have a great week. Stay safe, be blessed always, and stay spooky, people.